Hello, YouTube. My name is Plazukas, and I have spent 400 hours playing Destiny Rising. Now, with any tier list, it is obviously subjective, and there are biases that are unfortunate. And in the case of this tier list, there are a few biases that I will have, both in regard of favoring and also not favoring certain characters. And I will try to emphasize that when we get to the characters that I am talking about, one of which I have not really played. So for me to rank it would not be wise, but I think I understand where it is inside the game and the versatility and the functionality of it. So I will still rank it, even though I haven't really played the class. Well, there's actually two now that I look at the list specifically. So without further ado, and we are going to go from left to right in a random. No, we're going to go from right to left. I think this is actually a much more spicier way to do this tier list. We'll leave Yelder at the very least. So we have Umiko here. Umiko is a similar style build or archetype to Tan, which has a scout plus a sniper combo mix. There are different kind of archetypes of scout inside the game, and that matters for different enemy types and for different clearability, standards or situations. So when you're dealing with Shinkas, the fast rate fire scout rifle seems like it competes with an auto rifle, and for that makes someone like Umiko very versatile in many different challenging contents that require certain enemy types to be dealt with or handled relatively quickly. Snipers have historically been a very powerful class in Destiny. It is really no different here in Ryzen, although some are better than others. I think Izanagi's Burden is a great weapon to dispatch large bosses, large health pools. And I don't think you need Borealis per se, unless you're dealing with elemental issues with certain classes like Tan and Umiko, which is definitely an issue with the game when you can't actually build out your own character or switch between, Warlock, Hunter, and Titan in Destiny 2 proper. Her kit is a single use debuff. It's not a party debuff like, or like a party buff like Tan. Hers is a debuff that applies mostly to her and the damage that she can output. She also has really good evasive abilities, and her super is again, it's almost like a crowd control effect. But I believe it only applies to minions. I haven't tested her thoroughly. There is no way, shape, or form that Umiko in both PvP, PVE, and some of the higher level content is in any tier besides A tier. Oops, sorry about that. I do think that Umiko is definitely going to be landing in A. I'm not sure if she is going to, technically get to the S tier. And I would have to make that decision once I start ranking Tan. Can both exist in S tier? Is one better than the other in certain areas to where they edge out each other? We'll wait until that. But right now, definitively, Umiko is a great character. She's a legendary character, which makes her even more valuable because she's easier to get, at least a copy of, in a random, obviously in a random pool, but at the same time, better than the higher difficulties like Tan. All right, we got Ginwi. Ginwi is a fusion, straight up fusion, shotgun mix. So it's basically two impact weapons that are extremely effective with certain archetypes. However, Ginwi is essentially outclassed by both Gwen and Yelder, and potentially even Finala in many aspects of the game because of the versatility of auto rifle and Finala's sword. I think in PvP he would probably be better than most people give him credit for, especially if you have the Jotun. I think his viability comes with his weapons more than anything. If he has the Jotun, I do think that he goes to A tier. I really do. And that's mainly because of PvP and the different modes in the game where you can utilize him. I really do think that this unlocks his full potential. But I'm going to be realistic. Because of the limitations of exotics in the game right now, I do believe that Wanwi is going to be in B tier overall. His abilities are strong, but they're not strong against like bosses. They're strong against mobs, and they're strong in PvP. So it does limit his ability, and the B tier is going to be mainly for people that are just like on the edge of really high potential to really low potential, right in the middle where there's versatility, but not exactly excellence in that sense. Okay, Finala. If you would have asked me a day ago before Grandmaster unlocks on all accounts regionally, NA is soon, I would have put Finala probably in C tier. But after testing her out, seeing how the auto deals with Shinkas, her sword dealing with brigades, and then just the versatility of her kit, I can't deny that Yelder, and this is kind of a spoiler alert, is better than Finala. I don't think Finala is A tier. I really don't. Although I do think that she beats out Wanwi in the B tier. I think she's probably close to A tier. There is a case where, given all the right circumstances, and maybe the Patriot sword in the game right now, the exotic, is very good. There's no denying that. I don't think the sweet business is the business currently. I think there's better archetypes in that in the exotic pool in the future that could potentially unlock her kit, as well as anything else that could provide that as well for her. I think she's safely in B tier. I think no matter what we go through here, I think she's going to be top of B tier, period. Which, in her case, is like having an A level character because she's underappreciated, in my opinion. Okay? Atoll. Again, would have asked me a day ago, 2 days ago, before I had a chance with the Royal Caribbean, I think it's called. That exotic weapon in its 3 burst mode with Atoll is absolutely insane in both PvP and PvE. I think that she should eclipse Finala in B tier, but I actually think she's probably low A tier. The hand cannons, although currently with the weapons that we have, and there's not really... The prefect apparently is very good. I haven't played with the prefect, so this is one of those caveats that I need to, say. So I don't have a full range of her weapon, catalog to rank her accurately, like 99.999%, but I'm like 80% accurate. She's A tier. I think her weapons, I think her ability to heal, the support aspect of her kit, give her enough versatility. She's definitely below Yumiko in terms of just, potential, but hand cannons have been a really good archetype in Destiny, and I think in the future they will be still. And I think the old prefect is good, and I think Crimson is good. I think there's better, though. But the Royal Caribbean, or whatever it's called specifically, I tested that on my Asia account. That 3 burst mode is insanely awesome. And it really does complement her. All right. Here's my bias, okay? There's 2 biases in this tier list. The first one is favorable. The second one is non-favorable. IIcicora. IIcicora is my favorite. IIcicora is the guardian that I most identify with. I'm a warlock main in Destiny proper, Destiny 2, Destiny 1. I don't play those games anymore, but when I did, I was a warlock. I mained warlock, and I never wanted to be any other class outside of like needing to be for grind and stuff like that, for day 1 raids and stuff like that, right? IIcicora probably is C tier. However, I know I can make a case for her being in B tier. She has both spread weapons, which are the only character that has it. No other character has spread in the game. I think that limits her versatility. Ultimately, her reload times are slow, but if you have the two-tailed fox, being able, and if you have the catalyst and another copy, and that's a lot, that's really situational, okay? That's really situational. Then she's able to break barriers. She's able to do a lot of damage in a very big area. She has more functionality than most, but she's limited by certain competition modes. She's not good against Shinkas. She's not good. She is good against brigades, but it's very situational. Like I said, if you have the two-tailed fox, I think it increases her overall viability. I think she's better than C. I think most people would rate her as C, potentially even D or question mark. I'm gonna put her just below Finala. I think her kit is very versatile. I think she outperforms Atal in many aspects. I think she outperforms some S tier characters in some aspects. I think her abilities are better than Finala. I think her abilities are better than Wan Wei. I think her abilities are better than Atal in most applications. And I think that gives her the edge. I would probably even put her past Finala, but I think Finala's versatility and her weapon archetype definitely gives her the edge. So I'm going to be fair. And so my bias does seem like it's being used here, but it really isn't. This is the right place to put IIcicora, in my opinion. You have Cber. Cber, I believe, is being slept on PvP. That blind mechanic is very effective against real players. How effective it is against computers or AI, I'm not really sure. But apparently, it's pretty effective. So in that case, Cber is really strong. He's very slow, but he's tanky. He doesn't just die. I don't know if he's got extra health or what. I haven't looked into that specifically. And he has something that has become quite interesting recently. He has a gun type that is able to dispatch every challenging or situational boss in the entire game. LMGs in this game are extremely, machine guns are extremely overpowered. They are probably the single best archetype in the entire game. Machine guns, period. The pulse is an equalizer that's not necessarily favorable, unfortunately, because I think auto rifles, sidearms, and other archetypes do compete with it better. But I think that's just a matter of time before a pulse comes into the game that could potentially outperform all those. Whether or not LMGs get nerfed by then, I don't know, but they are super powerful at long range, short range. Heir apparent, Gallows obviously are preferred, but I'm sure there's plenty of things in between that works as well and that are effective. This puts Cber, should be high B, but I actually think he eclipses and goes to A, and I would put him above Atal. I might even put him above Umiko, but I'm not going to because we have another character inside the game that has the same kit, and I think she outperforms him just slightly. If it was PvP, he would be top of A tier, in my opinion. I think he eclipses Yumiko because his ability to blind, his super is a lot easier to use. His ability is a lot easier to use than Umiko. Umiko is a very situational character, and requires a really skilled player to use. And Cber isn't. But I think from a overall like every mode perspective, Cber is like right in the middle here. Okay. Wolf. Wolf has auto rifle and one of the worst archetypes in the entire game, grenade launchers. I ain't gonna lie. That's potentially because the rate of fire on grenade launchers right now is not good. It's not ideal. They haven't actually added the high rate grenade launchers inside the game, and I know why. Because historically they've been broken and they've destroyed content. So whether or not we'll ever get them, I don't know. With the way the game is currently, I don't know why we wouldn't, because difficulty is not really an option. Survivability is not really an option. There's not a lot of punishment. So why not? Why not break the game? Because the game's already semi-broke as it is from a grindy competitive perspective. Wolf is completely like solar based. He doesn't have a lot of versatility as far as elemental diversity. He does have the fastest cooldown on his super and maybe his abilities. That's mainly because he's the main character inside the game. And also because if you go through the acclaim level, you get certain things that increase that, the super. He's definitely A tier. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This guy is able to do a lot inside this game. The grenade launchers really do affect him. He's not S. He's not an S tier character. He's just not. No matter how much I want to put him on S tier, I cannot. And this is controversial. I think he could be below Cber. He probably is in many aspects, but I think because of his survivability and his maneuverability, specifically, Cber is very slow. Umiko is very fast. I think Umiko eclipses the Wolf. So I'm going to put him in A tier just below Umiko as far as just overall versatility and just different game modes and stuff like that. And her maneuverability and her evasiveness is better than Wolf's, and I think that's what gives her the edge specifically. Estella. If you would have asked me a day ago, she would be an A tier. But then I went into Shifting Gates, and I realized that there are people who play her specifically and are able to get her minions to do things that they shouldn't be able to do. Whether that be through upgrading or positioning. These minions literally walked around the map, like further away from her, and became like, I don't know, bots, AI. And I saw how effective she can be. The fact that she has an LMG, her one signature ability is extremely strong as far as damage output. I would say it's even as strong as Tan's debuff signature ability. That is super impactful, both in damage and as far as potential multipliers, as far as when you hit something. She is the slot in for Grandmaster because of the LMG. She's a slot in for Calamity Ops for many reasons. Although I don't think she's better than the next character that I'm going to talk about, I think she is S tier. I think she is. But it requires high skill to play her, to get the S out of her. If you can't do that, she's A tier. She's probably even below. She's probably right there if you can't use her effectively. But if you do use her effectively, I think she is S tier. We're not even going to talk about this one. Gwen is S tier. S tier, top of the line. Doesn't require much knowledge or skill as opposed to Estella, which does. That makes her the most effective suggested unit that I could probably recommend in the entire game. She's that good. Survivability, maneuverability, damage, versatility, if I hadn't said that already. She's like, she checks all the boxes. She's a cool character. She breaks the game in some aspects. She's very, very good. There's no question about it. She's very, very good. And she's top of the line. And I'm going to spoil everything. There will be no character that beats her in this tier list. She is the S's of S. If there was an S tier, she'd be on top of it. Okay? Because of her usability, and everybody can basically unlock her kit. Does she get better with more dupes? Yes. Does Estella get better with more dupes? Yes. All those things apply, but they're still S tier even in their original forms. But they're obviously improved. Okay, Ningfay. Ningfay, please, don't even start. Ningfay is S tier. Whether or not he is above Estella is hard to say. In this current season, no. Last season, yes. In the future, he has crossbows and he has submachine guns. The crossbow is able to dispatch both Shinkas, brigades, and somewhat, to some extent, Shanks from the high competition perspective. He has a great kit that literally breaks the game better than Gwen. His one signature that literally can jump from one side of the map to the other and cling to the enemy is in need of a rework because of how broken it is in PvP. It really is that. It's really that bad. It's not even close. This guy is insane. And because of his usability and his I don't know, ability to break the game, I'm going to give him an edge on Estella. I think he is better than Estella. But in Season of the Daybreak, you would have to give Estella, the edge. But I'm not going to do that. I do think that if I were to recommend a character long term, it would be Ningfay. He's in the permanent banner. He's the first S tier in the permanent banner, period. Okay. The last two. And I will say, they're not going to go to B. They're not going to be C. And they're not going to be question mark. These two are viable, competent characters inside the game, heroes inside the game. Now, one of them I don't like. One of them I have very, 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 very limited play time with them. So my ability to rank them is not very good. But like I said, I think I have a very good idea. All right, Tan. Obviously, we gave Umiko A tier. Tan's ability to buff his team. Tan's ability to do massive damage and also have his team do massive damage. It's so close. I think he's probably top of A. But I would put him at bottom of S. I think overall, Tan's kit is a little bit better than Umiko. Umiko's maneuverability is better than Tan's. But this guy has so much functionality that he can do, and again, high skill. Estella and Tan are high skill characters. They require a really good user to effectively unlock them. Because if you don't, he's gonna be probably here, or maybe back here. I don't know. He's probably top of S, even if you can't use him, because he does well regardless. But this guy is definitely a powerhouse. He's going to be used in a lot of these comps that require like fast clear times and just min-maxing. Tan is a really, really, really solid character. Again, in the permanent banner, so that's good. Last but not least, my personal hated favorite, my least favorite person in the entire game, the one I do not want to play with, even though I will give her all the props in the world. Submachine guns, swords, the frickin' bubble, you know, the quintessential Titan, blah, 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 right? She's definitely S tier. I hate to admit it. I don't want to admit it. She probably eclipses both Tan and Estella. She's probably right in the middle. The fact that she's going to be with Grandmaster, the fact that she's not necessarily good in Calamity Ops, but everybody fucking plays her in Calamity Ops. She's able to dispatch, although in lesser time, you know, Shinka's, Brigades, and Shanks. Obviously gives her a good kit. She has a good ability for survivability. She has decent maneuverability. She has the bubble, which does help for the team protection standpoint. I think she's overall more versatile than Tan, which is why I would put her right in the middle. She could be like, this could be the right way, but I think because of her popularity and how prevalent she is, and that she's not actually locked behind a premium banner, I'm going to give her the edge and be the Stella. This is where my rankings currently are for Destiny Rising post season of Daybreak, whatever it's called, and before Grandmaster launches throughout all the regions. Gwen, you should pull for 100% if you're going to pull on the premium banner, which you're going to get currency to pity. At the very least, you should get one copy of her over Estella. I don't think you should wait on other banners. I think these two units are very viable. So you're good. You're in good hands. Whether or not this game will, you know, unfortunately do some tactics to minimize the potential of these characters, I don't know. But currently, this is where I rank the characters inside the game. Do not sleep on the B tier, okay? Do not sleep on the B tier. All of these characters have functionality and viability in the meta in some way or shape or form. But that's this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.